Well, for more, I'm joined tonight by Mick. He is the founding editor of the Northern Ireland-based blog Slugger O'Toole. Mick, it's good to have you on the program. We heard in that report that blame is being directed at Brexit for the violence. Explain, if you could, to our viewers how this can be the case.
Well, look, I mean, we've got to take what the writers say with a degree of salt. But the subject of controversy really since January has been not Brexit so much, because by and large unionists were in favour of Brexit by a relatively small majority, it has to be said. But the Northern Ireland Protocol, which was negotiated between Barnier and the British negotiators, which gives Northern Ireland a special status. Now, the upside of that special status is that for exporters, it's great because you can export into the UK without any bother, and you can export into the Republic and onward into the rest of the European Union. Where it's causing real difficulties is twofold. One, small businesses that depend on supplies coming in from mainland Britain are now experiencing huge disruption in their supply chains, with suppliers basically saying the bureaucracy that the European Union is putting upon them means that they simply aren't going to send stuff to Northern Ireland anymore. And that's being experienced as an unexpected shock, because nobody warned, neither the pro-Brexiteers nor the anti-Brexiteers warned the general public of that. Now, is that the motivating factor here for the rioters? I think some of what we're seeing here is youngsters leaping on an excuse after lockdown, and you know, in Northern Ireland, the vaccination programme is now got to the point where we're almost at what's nominally called herd immunity. Mm-hmm. So there's a perception that they can get out. These are youngsters in areas with very little economic prospects. So the degree to which we should see this as a legitimate response to the protocol is very limited, but it is undoubtedly creating huge waves and huge difficulties. And the European Union's response, something of a tin ear to some of those concerns, I think.
Yeah. Some observers have said that the European Union is partially to blame because of a decision which was reversed to place controls on the exports of vaccines from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. I mean, is that playing a factor as well?
Look, I really would balk at trying to blame the European Union for riots in Belfast. They're relatively small scale, but quite deadly when it comes to the police injuries that have been accumulating. But it certainly was something of a tin ear. I think the problem is that when Barnier, the chief negotiator, stepped down, there's no real statesman controlling how the actions of the European Union is being perceived, both in Britain and in Ireland, the two places where the friction is being felt to the greatest degree. So that lack of statesmanship, I think, it is not just a threat as far as the near term is concerned, it's also a threat going forward. This thing has to bed in, and it has to be successful for Northern Ireland to get past this period of instability.
Well, Mick, if I'm hearing you correctly, are you saying that if there had been no pandemic, if there had been no lockdowns, we probably, despite what's happening with Brexit, we probably would not be seeing this violence? Is that what you're saying?
I guess so. I think it's the youngsters are the ones who've suffered most. They're the ones, and you're talking about here from 12 to 16-year-olds who've been cooped up and locked down for all that period of time. I think, yes, on one hand. On the other hand, lockdowns probably saved us from the worst of the instability around the trade routes, because there's been very, very low volumes of trade compared to what's normal. So I think there's an issue that has to be fixed. The European Union and the UK government have to take these big issues seriously, and I think take this as an indication that trouble doesn't just come in one direction in Northern Ireland. If you don't pay attention to all parties, it can come from multiple directions.
Well, tell us then, for our viewers watching, when they see these images of youth and police clashing, and they immediately think that the fragile peace in Northern Ireland could, be turned upside down. How close are we to that peace being disrupted, or is this just a blip on the screen?
No, I think this is a blip. This is a blip on the screen. It's an important one though, because really what it's pointing towards, and you heard the condemnation from all the major political parties there, from unionist, pro-Brexit unionist to anti-Brexit nationalist, and everybody else in between. But what we're seeing is a lot of condemnation, a lot of fine words, but the only thing that's going to help put this thing to bed is real action, and to get some kind of an understanding of how that border works between Northern Ireland and the rest of the United Kingdom in such a way that it doesn't, as we say in Ireland, frighten the horses. And so there's work that has to be done at several levels here. And the European Union, I think, worked on the basis that if it kept Republicans happy by not putting a land border, then everything would be fine. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. And I think what drives a lot of these young loyalists, these young Protestants, is the fury when they see big politics working in favor of people who, let's face it, historically killed far more people during the Troubles than the Loyalists did, getting most of the favors when it comes to big politics.
Yeah. Mick, unfortunately, we're out of time, but we certainly appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight. It's really important to get this kind of context to understand what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.